water with a small cork bobber and shoot and plug it up right about here and do the same thing. You cast out, just twitch it, twitch it, twitch it, and that's what you do on this lake. It's called jiggy bobber. You know what I'm saying? You just twitch it like you would a jig. You make the bobber just twitch, let it sit, twitch, and you'll watch the bobber go boop. Yes, sir. But you can cast those too. I mean, you don't have, but for dock shooting, you can bend it all the way back. That's a real flexible rod. And he's got some of those right over there also. And this is a 5-footer. This is your 6-footer. You know what I'm saying? Which on this lake for jiggy bobber, maybe this might be a little better because you can get a little bit further cast with. But if you do that jiggy bobber, you will get hooked. And you just, I swear to God, it's the most fun thing to do. Because you stay away from the fish, you can actually just drop an anchor and cast to the bedding area and twitch it, twitch it, twitch it, and that bobber jump back, set the hook, and it's on. And you don't spook your fish. That's the other good thing about this. If you put that bobber up there, you don't spook the fish, and you can catch them all. And so that's what these little rods are good for. They're good for shooting docks, getting in little places, tight places.
Feel that. It's got less. Some of the little rods we're using, this is stiffer. This is stiffer.
Yeah.
It's not an ultra rod.
But it's a very good rod. It uses a long spool base, so it uncoils faster. The little skinny ones don't come off the rod. It's nice and deep. But these are excellent little rods for doing what they do.
Yeah, I don't understand.
And here you also have rim canals around the lake that have a lot of docks on them. And there's a lot of fish on these docks. You know what I mean? And you can shoot up underneath them docks with these little rods and just, you don't even have to chick it. Just reel it back real slow, and as it's sinking and you bring it forward, they'll smack it. And I'll tell you another big beneficial thing, the way you can set your boat up for is with this Garmin. The Garmin electronics has the live scope, and what that does when you're in the rim canal or in any place where you got docks, you can actually drive by that dock and look at everything under it. I can see the specks swimming underneath that dock.
Other than like Humminbird's 360.
Humminbird's 360, you have to wait till it comes back around. I have that.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't like it near as much as I do the Garmin. The Garmin, you're looking at that, I can actually take my finger and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fish underneath that dock.
So you just turn your trolling motor.
Yes, you have it.
Stationary on your
yes,
trolling.
there it is. There's the transducer. That's the live scope transducer, and it points forward with your motor. So anywhere you turn the motor, 120 feet in front of the boat, and anywhere you whip it, it goes out that far.
And you can legally use that in
Yes, sir. Yeah, for even bass, all of it. You know, they had that 360 out for the last 5 years. No, but once you use it, you'll be able to tell. When I first started using it, I'd take my jig, and you can actually watch your jig go down, and you'll see fish converge on it. And then you just look at what's converging on it in comparison to the size of your jig. That's not a crappie. Yeah, those are bluegills. Bluegills will run right to it. Yeah, I mean, and then they'll tap it or whatever they do, and then they'll run away. You'll see someone run up and run away. But with the crappie, you'll see actually you won't see the bend in the crappie fish. You will the bass. You can actually see them swimming, and the catfish, you can see them swimming, and which way they're going. But the panfish, the bigger bluegill and the bigger crappie, will be about the size of a dime. They look like a shiny dime on there. And you'll see them easing over to it. And then you'll see them raise up to it, and you'll see them nose it, and you'll see them bite. I mean, you don't have to on all of them, because usually, like you say, the crappie or specks are a schooling fish. So you're actually seeing the school of fish, and you're not picking out the one you want. Now, I would pick out the one I want because we're fishing for big fish. You know what I mean? And when I've been using this thing for about a year now in tournament conditions, and I've gotten to where I can actually tell the size of a fish, you know, when I'm fishing for. But it's a big plus. And then when you get to using them, there's different rods that are made for it also. This is a 12-foot rear-seated H&H live scope rod. And what's good about this is the length on it. The 12-foot, he's actually going to be making a 13-footer. Because when you're using it, this actually tells you how far away the fish is from your boat. It has 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 feet.
So if he's 12 foot, you're right.
So if he's 12 feet, I'm right there, and I don't have to stand out on man to get him.
Yeah.
But yet I stay far enough away. What the plus to that is that you see him before he sees you. Very simple. You don't have to. Before, what we had to do, we would have to run up to our brush pile or whatever we're fishing, throw a buoy on it, back off of it, and fish it. Now I know where that brush pile is. I ease up to it, and we fish it. You know what I'm saying? What's that? Yeah, you can watch. You can actually watch your jig going down to that fish. I mean, it's just unbelievable. It's a great tool, is what it is. Along with the different poles that we use for different things. You know, the pulling poles out the back. That's when you're like you would do saltwater dolphin fishing or whatever with you use curly tails. You throw them out the back. You use your trolling motor, which has a remote that has cruise control on it at whatever speed you want to go. So we usually go 1 to 1.1 to 1.2 mile an hour to pull these curly tails. And you cast them 50, 60 feet behind the boat. And that's why I use these 18-foot poles to get a bigger spread to cover more ground when you're pulling out there. And they'll hook themselves. These rods, when they hit it, they'll rod will bend back, and it's on like Donkey Kong. You know what I'm saying? It's a good meat and potatoes way of fishing. I can tell you that much. No problem. They do thick. You'll catch. If you go out there now and you pull a fish out there, normally he'll be black. The male fish are black this time a lot. When they're in there getting ready to spawn, they turn jet black, and that's what you're fishing for. You know what I'm saying? When you pull that weed, those male fish are under there big time. The females will come in there, but your females are normally in the more open water around the area, because they'll sit out in that open water and wait to go into spawn. And you know what I mean? So I tell guys all the time, there's a way to fish for big fish in the grass. And that way is fish the open water around that thick stuff. Because that's where them big females are going to be sitting. They'll be hanging out there till nightfall or whatever, and they get ready to spawn. They go in there, blow their eggs, they'll come back out. And that's what those big fish do. So you can actually target big fish in grass where most people are just targeting numbers. They're just trying to fill the live well, get their limit, and go. But if you're a tournament fisherman, like I do, a lot of times I'll target the bigger fish. And if I'm in a tournament, that's what I do. You won't see me dipping in the grass. You'll see me dipping in the holes, pockets, the bigger hole, open water holes, because them females will be hanging out in that area. And that's what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? But you can catch them all there, but I'm just saying. And I'm not saying that you can't catch a female in the thick stuff, because you will catch them in there, but on the average, you'll catch more females outside the stuff than you will in the thicker stuff. That's what I do.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's a trade. I tell people all the time, you know. What's that? You got Grassy Island over here, you got Kings Bar, you know what I mean? You got Buckhead Ridge. All that stuff has pencil reed or cattails with a lot of the blown up cabbage or lettuce leaf, whatever you want to call it, blown up there. Look for the thicker stuff, and that's where you're going to find your
What were they doing a couple years ago when they were up there spraying that to kill that?
Well, that's what they do here. That's a shame, and none of us fishermen like it, but they sort of don't care. So, you know what I mean? It is what it is. They're using it for a water source for South Florida, more so than they don't care about the the businesses around the lake and the fishing.
What time are you going to do this now?
2 o'clock. 2 o'clock.
I better go for I get my dad over there to take away.
All right,
Good
man,
talking
you
to you.
guys take
Thank
care.
you.
No problem. Come this way. Go around the loop. Loop it back through, and it's over with, guys. Just simple as that. You grab your tag line and you pull this the distance away you want, and that's it. The lure sits level. It's got a loop. It's not tied down tight. Works out real good. Now, like I say, for deep water jig fishing, which I do a lot of, I'll use a double hook rig. And what I do is I just take this thing here, pull the line tight, wrap it around and back through. And I like this lure here. I mean, I like it to make about a 1-inch tag line on it. Uh-oh, I done messed this one up, guys. Hang on, I gotta redo this real quick. Playing around with my rod falling. We'll do this one more time. All right, here we go. We'll pull the line tight. Both the lines, you gotta go under and through them. Pull it tight. And you got your tag line there. There it is. See how it is? And I'll pull it down to the length I want, which I like to stay about an inch away from the line. And then you just do that one more time. You go around and back through, right? And pull the two lines together, and that keeps the line from sliding. Then you have now you have your double jig rig. There it is, and that's how to tie it. It sits there, and see how the jig sits all the time? It sits level. When you're jigging it, it sets level. This sets level when you put it in the water, and it looks like the bait's swimming. And this won't slip down on you. And this is the way we tie the jigs for jigging. And you can also do it when you're long line trolling. The only thing I do different on long line trolling is I make this about 2.5, 3 inches right here.
So if you was casting, you do that?
If I was casting at the bridge, I would do this rig right here.
I cast other places the same.
Right, but I'm just saying, I mean, I know that you like to fish the bridge, but you can, and you could space them apart if you wanted to. On these, when I'm pulling these, I got a bigger space between them. I usually leave about 2.5 feet between my jigs. And here I like to have 12 to 14 inches is what I look for on this kind of a deal. Vertical deal. But that's the way we tie the double jig rigs for the pulling and for the vertical fishing deep water. I use a lot of double rigs when I'm vertical fishing deep water. On Reelfoot, Tennessee, I had
I hate that lake.
a guy was fishing. I was practicing for a tournament on Reelfoot, and I watched him in the distance. I hadn't fished that lake a whole lot. We were catching fish, but this guy was like whacking them. I said, well, we eased our way over there, and I asked, he started to pick his poles up and leave, and said, wait a minute. We have to talk for a second. I got to know how you're doing that. And he had three jigs, and he had his baits tied closer to the line than what I got him. I mean, he was only like 1/4 inch off the line, the two upper jigs. But we were fishing for white crappie, and white crappie here you like to bounce it. Yeah. Black crappie like to feel that little snap. But white crappie, they like it just sort of like pulled around, very little movement, just pull it around. And he would just ease around the stump. He'd ease his pole around the stump. And if he didn't get a hit when he's easing it around the stump, let it sit for that. Then he'd start going away. And when he's going away, them fish would hit that bait.
Like you ain't leaving.
Yeah, and that's there's just so many techniques to catching these fish. I tell people all the time, they say, oh man, you do that. I said, listen to me. I'm no better fisherman than you are. The only thing I have is time on the water. So I've seen things like what that old man showed me. I've seen that, and I can try a lot of different things to make things happen. But you guys fish your areas, and you're a master of the areas that you fish. You know, because you've done fish there enough. You know what I mean? And I tell them it's time on the water, which is the difference between
being able to read the water.
Yeah, you got a lot of things that change things. You got tidal rivers, you know, your reservoirs and everything. They have pump stations and stuff that run water through them, and that's another thing you have to learn. And all that is just something doing it. You know, if you do it enough, you start realizing what's going on, and you apply it to these different lakes that we fish in Florida or all over the country.
That paddle tail produce more jigs or the other?
What's that?
The paddle tail produces more fish or the other one you guys?
I like these are Charlie Brewer slider jigs. I like using them, and I like using the AWD baits. And that one bait that we have right there is called a Slabalicious bait by Strike King, Mr. Crappie. Those are really, really good trolling baits. Real good trolling baits. They do a real good job. These rods that were in this rig that I have here is mainly used for dock shooting. You know, you bring the rod back. A lot of crappie hang around structure, and they love docks. And you can bring this thing and bend it back to here and shoot it up underneath the dock. You get good with this, and you can shoot that thing. You can shoot this. You can shoot one of these baits in a crack underneath the dock. That much. You can shoot it 15 to 25 feet underneath that dock. you get good with one of these rods. And a lot of them northern lakes, and you're in tournaments, them dock shooters will whip your butt if you don't get in the game.